The white silk feels like a second skin. I stare at my reflection in the floor-length mirror, my heart hammering against my ribs. Today is supposed to be the best day of my life. My wedding day. After 3 years of dating Mark, I am finally becoming a permanent part of the Thorne family. Or so I thought. Mark is the golden boy. He is charming, successful, and fiercely protective, usually. But there is a shadow in our relationship, and its name is Evelyn. My mother-in-law-to-be has a way of sucking the oxygen out of any room she enters. She's the kind of woman who smiles while she's cutting you down. You look adequate, Elena, Evelyn says, leaning against the doorframe of the bridal suite. She isn't looking at my face. She's looking at the dress. It's a custom Vera Wang, a masterpiece of ivory lace that cost more than my first car. I try to offer a polite smile. Thank you, Evelyn. It means a lot that you're here. She hums a low, non-committal sound. It's a very white dress, isn't it? A bit traditional for someone with your history. My smile falters. My history is simply that I grew up in foster care. I didn't have a legacy or a trust fund to bring to the table. To Evelyn, that makes me a scavenger. She spent months trying to micromanage every detail of this wedding, from the lilies to the seating chart. I'm the bride. Evelyn, I say, my voice trembling slightly. It's supposed to be white. She straightens her back, her eyes flashing with a cold, predatory light. Of course, dear. Enjoy your moment. It's the last one you'll have where you're the center of attention. She slips out of the room before I can respond. A chill settles in my marrow. I tell myself it's just pre-wedding jitters. I tell myself that Mark loves me and that once the rings are on, she will have to respect me. That was the moment everything changed. I should have listened to my gut. The air in the room feels heavy, thick with a secret I haven't uncovered yet. I reach for my phone to text Mark, to tell him I love him, but my hand stops. Through the cracked door, I hear Evelyn's voice in the hallway. She's whispering to Mark's sister, Chloe. Wait until she sees. Evelyn giggles. It's a sound like glass breaking. She thinks she's joining this family. She's just the opening act. I freeze. The ivory lace suddenly feels like a straitjacket. What is she planning? My mind races through every possible slight, every petty trick she's pulled over the last year. But I can't imagine the scale of the betrayal waiting for me at the end of the aisle. I walk to the window and look down at the garden where the ceremony is about to begin. The guests are arriving. The flowers are perfect. The illusion is complete. The music starts. The heavy swell of the violin marks the beginning of my march toward the rest of my life. My bridesmaids, girls I've known since college, give me encouraging nods. They don't know. Nobody knows. I take a deep breath and step onto the long, white runner. The sun is bright, blindingly so. At the end of the aisle stands Mark. He looks handsome in his black tuxedo, but as I get closer, I notice he isn't looking at me. He's looking slightly to the left. Then I see her. Evelyn is standing in the front row, but she isn't sitting down. She is standing right next to the altar, positioned as if she is part of the bridal party. And she isn't wearing the navy blue gown we picked out together. She is wearing white. Not just white. She is wearing a floor-length beaded gown with a train that rivals my own. It is a wedding dress. My mother-in-law is standing at my wedding, dressed as a bride. A gasp ripples through the crowd. I feel the blood drain from my face. I look at Mark, pleading with my eyes for him to do something, to say something, to tell her to sit down, to acknowledge the insanity of this moment. Mark looks at me, then at his mother, and then he looks at the ground. He doesn't move. He doesn't defend me. I trusted them. I whisper to the empty air. I reach the altar, my legs feeling like lead. Evelyn is beaming. She leans in as I pass, her voice a poisonous thread in my ear. I told you, Elena, you're just the guest here. I stand across from Mark, my hands shaking so hard I have to clench them into fists. The officiant begins to speak, but the words are a blur. All I can see is the shimmering white of Evelyn's dress in my peripheral vision. She is intentionally leaning into the frame of the professional photographer's shots. She is trying to erase me from my own wedding. Mark, I whisper, my voice cracking. Just get through it. He mutters under his breath, not meeting my eyes. She's just being dramatic. Don't make a scene. Don't make a scene? She is wearing a wedding dress at my wedding, and I'm the one being told not to make a scene? The betrayal hits me harder than the sight of the dress. It's the realization that Mark is an accomplice. He knew. He must have seen her before the ceremony. He let her walk out like that. I felt invisible. In a garden filled with 200 people, I am completely and utterly alone. The man I'm about to vow my life to is choosing his mother's ego over my dignity. The officiant reaches the part about if anyone has any objections. The silence that follows is deafening. I look at the rows of guests, Mark's wealthy relatives, his business partners, and I see their smirked expressions. They aren't shocked. They're amused. They think I'm a joke. They think I'm a social climber who is finally getting put in her place by the matriarch. My heart isn't just breaking. It's hardening. I look at Evelyn's triumphant face. She thinks she's won. She thinks I'll just cry, finish the ceremony, and spend the rest of my life in her shadow. They thought I wouldn't fight back. The ceremony ends. I don't remember saying, I do, but apparently I did. The rings are on. The kiss was a cold brush of lips against my cheek. As we walk back up the aisle, Evelyn steps in and grabs Mark's other arm. She walks with us. A man with two brides. The reception is a blur of agony. I find myself tucked into a corner of the ballroom while Evelyn holds court. She is the one receiving congratulations. She is the one people are toasting. You look stunning, Evelyn, I hear a family friend say. A bold choice, but you pull it off. Well, Evelyn says, her voice carrying across the room, I wanted to make sure the Thorne legacy was represented with true elegance. Some people just don't have the natural grace for it. I retreat to the bridal suite, locking the door behind me. I collapse onto the vanity chair, the lace of my dress feeling like a cage of lies. I sob until my lungs ache. The betrayal isn't just the dress. It's the realization that my entire relationship has been a lie. Mark didn't want a partner. He wanted a placeholder. Someone to fill the role of wife while he remained tethered to his mother's apron strings. I look at my phone. There are dozens of notifications. People are already posting photos online. The captions are brutal. Hashtag #AwkwardMIL, hashtag #DoubleBride, hashtag #ThorneWedding. A knock at the door. Elena, open up. We need to do the cake cutting. It's Mark. I open the door. He looks annoyed, not apologetic. What are you doing in here? Everyone is waiting. She's wearing a wedding dress, Mark. I say, my voice dead. It's just a dress. I'll get over it. You're being so sensitive. You're a thorn now. Start acting like it. Don't embarrass me. Don't embarrass you? I let out a sharp, hysterical laugh. She is the one who turned our wedding into a circus. And you're worried about me embarrassing you? She paid for half of this wedding. Elena. She has a right to be happy too. The air leaves the room. She paid for it. That was her leverage. That was why he stayed silent. He sold my respect for a down payment on a reception hall. I look at him, really look at him, and I see a stranger. I see a coward. Go back out there, I say, my voice suddenly calm. I'll be down in 10 minutes. Good, he says, turning on his heel. And fix your makeup. You look a mess. I close the door and lean against it. The sobbing stops. A cold, sharp clarity takes its place. They think I'm a victim. They think I'm the girl from foster care, who should just be grateful to be in the room. But I spent my childhood learning how to survive people like Evelyn. I learned how to read a room, how to find the weakness in a structure, and how to wait for the right moment to strike. I don't need a husband who won't stand up for me. I don't need a family that treats me like an intruder. I reach for my laptop, which I brought to handle some last-minute honeymoon bookings. I sit down and open the digital guest management portal for the wedding. I have the administrative login. I have the power. They want a show. I'm going to give them a finale they'll never forget. My fingers fly across the keys. As I navigate the wedding website and the digital guest list, I realize something. Evelyn didn't just pay for the wedding. She's been using the wedding account to funnel money. I see the invoices. She's been charging consulting fees to the wedding fund, money that Mark thinks is going to our future house. She's been stealing from her own son to maintain her lifestyle, all while playing the benevolent benefactor. I find a folder in the shared cloud drive titled Wedding Arrangements. I expect to find seating charts. Instead, I find a PDF of a prenuptial agreement I never signed. I open it. My blood runs cold. It's a forged document. It has my signature on it. A clumsy imitation, but enough to pass a cursory glance. It says that in the event of a divorce, I waive all rights to any Thorne assets, and, more importantly, it includes a non-disclosure agreement regarding any family matters. They weren't just trying to humiliate me. They were trying to trap me. They wanted to ensure that when I inevitably grew tired of the abuse and left, I would leave with nothing and be legally silenced. The sheer scale of the malice is breathtaking. Mark had to have known. He's the one who handled the legal paperwork. I feel a surge of nausea, followed by a burning, white-hot rage. I am not a victim. I am a witness. I look at the guest list on the screen. It's a list of the city's elite. Bankers, judges, journalists, all here to witness the Thorne perfection. I see the livestream link. Because many of Mark's international business partners couldn't attend, the entire wedding is being broadcast live to a private portal. There are hundreds of people watching from around the world. I look at the camera on my laptop. I look at the Edit Stream button. I realize I have access to the AV Booths feed. The tech guy is a college kid. I hired myself. He's probably off getting a drink while the playlist runs. I have 10 minutes before I'm expected downstairs for the first dance. I start typing. I begin by changing the guest list, not the physical one, but the digital one that controls the entrance to the after-party VIP lounge. This is where the real deals happen, where the Thorne inner circle gathers. I revoke access for every single one of Evelyn's friends. I replace them with a very different list of people from the local news, the forensic accountant I met during my last job, and, most importantly, Evelyn's ex-husband, the one she told everyone was dead, but who I found living in a modest apartment 3 towns over. I send a quick, urgent blast to the new VIPs with the link to the live stream and the gate codes to the estate. You want to be the star, Evelyn? I whisper to the screen. Then it's time for your close-up. I grab my makeup bag. I don't fix my face to look like a grieving bride. I sharpen my eyeliner. I put on a dark, bold red lipstick, a color Evelyn told me was too scandalous for a Thorne. I look in the mirror. The girl who was afraid is gone. In her place is a woman who has nothing left to lose. I stand up, smoothing out my white lace dress. It's a beautiful dress. It's a shame it's about to be covered in the metaphorical blood of this family's reputation. I walk out of the room. The hallway is empty. I can hear the music from the ballroom, a soft, romantic waltz. It's time to dance. I walk into the ballroom with my head held high. The room goes quiet as I approach the center of the floor. Mark is standing there, looking relieved. Evelyn is right behind him, still shimmering in her bridal white. About time, Mark whispers, reaching for my hand. I don't take it. I walk straight to the microphone at the front of the stage. The band stops playing. Hello, everyone, I say, my voice echoing through the speakers. I can see the AV kid in the back, looking confused. I give him a sharp nod. He sees the signal I programmed into his tablet. The giant screens behind me, the ones meant to show a montage of our love story, flicker to life. But it's not photos of us at the beach. The first image is the forged prenup. It's zoomed in on the signature. I'd like to thank you all for coming to witness this union, I say calmly. But before we dance, I think it's important to talk about the Thorne family values we've heard so much about today. The crowd murmurs. I see Evelyn's face go from smug to chalky white. As you can see on the screen, I continue, my husband and his mother have been very busy. They wanted to make sure I was well taken care of. So busy, in fact, that they decided to sign my name for me. Elena, stop this. Mark yells, stepping toward me. Stay back, Mark, I say, my voice dropping an octave. Or I'll play the audio recording of you telling me to get over your mother wearing a wedding dress to our ceremony. The room is paralyzed. I click a button on the remote in my hand. The screen changes. Now it's the financial ledger, the consulting fees, the stolen money. Evelyn, I say, turning to her. She is shaking, her hand clutching her pearls. You look beautiful in white. Truly, it's the color of innocence, isn't it? A bit ironic for someone who's been embezzling from her son's trust fund to pay for her secret gambling debts. A collective gasp hits the room like a physical wave. Mark turns to his mother, his eyes wide. What? Mom, what is she talking about? She's lying. Evelyn shrieks, her voice cracking. She's a gutter rat trying to tear us down. I'm not lying, I say, looking directly into the camera lens that is streaming this to his business partners. I've already sent the original files to the authorities and to the press. Oh, and speaking of guests, I point to the back of the room. The doors swing open. A man in a weathered suit walks in. He looks tired, but his eyes are fixed on Evelyn. Evelyn, the man says, you told the kids I was dead. You told the world I was a monster, so you could take the insurance money and run. Arthur, Evelyn whispers. She looks like she might faint. The guests are in a frenzy. Phones are out. Everyone is recording. The Thorne reputation isn't just crumbling, it's being vaporized in real time. I changed the guest list. Evelyn, I say, stepping off the stage. I realized I didn't want a room full of your sycophants. I wanted a room full of truth. Mark tries to grab my arm. Elena, please, we can talk about this. We can fix it. I look at his hand on my arm. Then I look him in the eye. There is no we, Mark. There never was. There was only you, your mother, and the ghost of a girl you thought you could control. I pull my arm away. I feel lighter than I have in years. The chaos is absolute. Evelyn is screaming at Arthur. Arthur is being approached by a reporter I recognized from the local affiliate. Mark is standing in the middle of the dance floor, his world collapsing around him. I walk toward the exit, but I don't leave just yet. I want them to see me. I want them to see the gutter rat walking away with the only thing that matters, the truth. Wait. Chloe, Mark's sister, runs up to me. She looks horrified. Elena, how could you do this? You've ruined everything. The family name, the business. I didn't ruin it, Chloe, I say, stopping to look at her. I just turned the lights on. If the truth ruins your family, then your family was already ruined. You just didn't have the courage to admit it. I turn back to the room. The live stream is still running. I walk over to the main camera, the one broadcasting to the VIPs, the partners, and the world. I lean in close. To everyone watching, I say, my voice steady and clear. This is what happens when you try to bury someone who knows how to dig. My name is Elena, and today was supposed to be my wedding day. Instead, it's my Independence Day. I reach up and unclip the heavy diamond necklace Mark gave me this morning. It's probably bought with stolen money anyway. I drop it on the floor. The clink it makes as it hits the marble is the most satisfying sound I've ever heard. I see Mark watching me. He looks broken. For a second, a flicker of the old love tries to stir in my chest, but it's quickly extinguished by the memory of him standing silent while his mother stood in white at the altar. You had a choice, Mark, I say, loud enough for those nearby to hear. Every day for 3 years, you had a choice to be a man or a son. You chose to be a shadow. Enjoy the darkness. I walk out the grand double doors of the estate. The cool night air hits my face, and for the first time in months, I can breathe. Behind me, the sound of the party has turned into a cacophony of arguments and sirens. Security is trying to clear the room, but it's too late. The story is out. The Thorne name is trending for all the wrong reasons. I see a black car waiting for me. I called it 10 minutes ago. As I walk down the steps, I see my reflection in the car window. My white dress is stained at the hem with garden dirt. My hair is slightly wild. I look nothing like the perfect bride Evelyn wanted. I look like a survivor. I get into the car. The driver looks at me in the rearview mirror, his eyes widening as he sees the wedding dress. Where to, ma'am? Anywhere. I say, just drive. As we pull away, I look back at the estate. The lights are flickering. It looks like a hollow shell. I take off my wedding ring, the heavy cold band of gold, and I don't throw it. I don't melt it. I put it in my purse. I'll sell it. I'll use the money to start the life I actually want. A life where I am never invisible. A life where I never have to ask for permission to exist. The betrayal was the catalyst. The dress was the spark. But the fire was all mine. 6 months later, I am sitting in a small, sun-drenched cafe in a city where nobody knows the name Thorne. I have a new job, a small apartment filled with plants, and a sense of peace I never thought possible. I open my laptop and do my weekly check-in on the news. The headlines are satisfying. Evelyn Thorne is facing multiple counts of fraud and embezzlement. Her friends have vanished. The estate was sold at auction to cover the legal fees, and the debts Arthur's lawyers managed to reclaim. Mark is working at a mid-level firm, his reputation so tarnished that no major player will touch him. I heard he moved into a 2-bedroom apartment with his mother. They are trapped together now, in a prison of their own making, blaming each other for the ruins of their lives. They thought they could consume me. They thought I was a resource to be used and discarded. I looked down at my hands. They aren't shaking anymore. I received a letter from Mark's lawyers last week, begging me to sign a mutual release to stop the civil suits. I tore it up. I don't want their money, but I won't give them the satisfaction of my silence. I've started a blog. I write about gaslighting, about the subtle ways families can erode your soul, and about how to find the strength to burn the bridges that lead back to your own destruction. Sometimes I think about that ivory lace dress. It's still in a box in the back of my closet. I don't keep it out of nostalgia. I keep it as a trophy. It's a reminder of the day I was supposed to lose everything, but instead, I gain myself. I sip my coffee, watching the people pass by on the street. I am no longer Thorne. I am Elena, just Elena, and that is more than enough. I used to fear being alone. I used to think that family was something you had to protect at all costs, even if it was killing you. I was wrong. I lost a husband. I lost a lifestyle. I lost a future that was written in someone else's ink. But as the sun warms my face, I realize I didn't lose anything that was worth keeping. Sometimes losing your family is the price of finding yourself.